that. I think, first of all, your town hall structure, when you've described it to me, is so accessible in a way that a lot of our governmental systems are not. Mm-hmm. They're not very accessible. You know, the Capitol is very big. You can't really. It's intimidating to some people in certain ways. You know, to even know what you're going to ask or how you ask it or who you ask it to. You know, there's a lot of barriers that aren't necessarily as obvious. They're not written down on paper in a way that's, you know, this is the barrier here. You know, they're a lot more intimidating in different ways. So I love that you've taken a town hall structure and actually decentralized that too, and really thinking about how your unique point of view allows you to see these ways we can decentralize those structures a little bit more and start to put the power back into the people's hands of you know, your neighbor. You can have a conversation with your neighbor. Mm-hmm. You can have a conversation with Cyndi Munson, but you have to recognize that she's a person too. Yeah. And I think that's a big piece of, you know, our last discussion, we talked about civics in the age of social media, and for social media to be what it is, you know, it's a huge barrier to understanding that when you talk to somebody on social, over the internet, whatever, there is someone on the other side of that. Mm-hmm. And we've lost so much of our humanness with those, you know, components of life, mm-hmm. the way that they are now. So when it comes to that humanness and being authentic and being yourself, let's just touch back real quick on those family dynamics and mm-hmm. what it takes to actually build that trust mm-hmm. at a young age. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Like, oh gosh, so many thoughts. Well, one, I think, you know, for all of us, those who are listening, you know, currently and then later on, I think we all can think back on our childhood and how much that impacts our adulthood and how we, you know, face challenges, how we show up in the world. Are we doing it to people please? Like everything that we do, am I doing this because it's true to me, or am I doing it because I want someone's love or attention? And so often throughout our childhood, someone has broken their trust with us. You know, for me, just to share a little bit, you know, my mom and I actually don't have a very good relationship. And so my trust broke down way back then when she did not use loving words. She did not use loving physical touch and things like that. And so I don't have a lot of trust that someone's going to take care of me. And so I've had to work through that. And that contributes even how we take care of ourselves. Like, I'm 36 and I'm reparenting myself and I'm doing all these self-care things that can be really hard. Day to day can be really tough because, like, at the foundation when I was younger, that wasn't provided by, well, my dad is very loving and was always there. The person who gave you life essentially, you know, did not. There's just something different about your connection with your mom, right? And so I think we take all of those experiences into everything that we do. And when I think about power structures, again, for myself, I think because I was fortunate to have my dad, that was strengthened. But there are still times, even as a state representative, someone who is elected to a position, who is in leadership positions, who has been generally successful over the last 6 or 7 years, I still don't trust I'm doing enough. I still don't, and we kind of shared that earlier, but I still don't always own that power when I'm in the building or when I'm in certain groups. And a lot of that is because I think just it all stems from no one else looking like you and doing it. So you're working with people who have generally just generationally have had power. But then when you don't have strong foundations of trust building, and it's not always about going your way, right? It's knowing that you're heard and seen and appreciated for who you are. That can be very tough for those who I think haven't been able to practice that in their family lives or other intimate relationships. And I think that contributes negatively, but it also, you know, it's not just those who want to access power, it's those who are in power and how they perform their jobs or how they perform their service. And people are going to do whatever it takes, because again, we're human, to get the attention, to get the belonging feeling, to get that safe feeling that what you're doing and how you're showing up is accepted and appreciated. And I do think that stems from self-trust, and we're taught that in family.
Totally. Isn't that part of humanness?
Yeah, and I was going to say the other piece is, I heard this on a podcast, I think, because I listened to tons of childhood trauma and reparenting and all of that, I really love learning about it. I think it's so fascinating because one, it takes a lot of the pressure off of myself that maybe I'm not as bad as I think I am, as my mind tells me, but because of the things that have happened to me have contributed to how I show up. And that's the same for everyone. Even the person I dislike, the most right-wing Republican person, is like, what was their trauma?
Right.
Like, what got them to this place, you know? Gosh. Oh, I was thinking, you know, it's like what I heard on the podcast is, are you doing your work? And I think everything that we're experiencing pushes us, you know, not pushes us, but sort of directs us into a path of doing the work, facing ourselves. And in a world like politics, it is not encouraged to be yourself. You're not encouraged to do the things that are true to you. It's what is polling one way or the other, what's going to get you the most money, what's going to get you the most votes, whatever the most you're trying to get. And I'm really trying to be different. I've tried for a long time I guess for 6 years now, to do things my way. And again, bringing the human aspect of what we're doing. I'll be on the floor and I'll say, you know, remember that I'm a human being and you're a human being. Like, I usually intertwine it in a debate and I do spend a lot of time trying to intertwine the issues we face with my own lived experience. And I'll be honest that sometimes I feel like, you know, am I being too emotional? Am I being too sensitive? But no, because this is how it impacts the people we serve. And I want to remind those around us that, you know, the folks that I'm around and when I'm on the floor debating or asking questions, that this is not just about winning or losing, or is something going to pass or not, or is it more conservative or more liberal. You are making decisions that impact people's lives.